in oceans for thousands of years. But over the last century and a half, more of us with better tools and improved technology are putting a strain on California that we all love. Today, with 38 million Californians, treating our resources wisely is an incredible challenge. Hi, I'm Tom Raftican and welcome to Real World Conservation. The concept behind Real World is simple. We hope to explore solutions to resource challenges that balance our sustainable use of resources while still ensuring a vibrant future for our kids. We'll not only look at fish, but habitat including our oceans, reefs, estuaries, and streams. And in addition to checking out these ecosystems, we'll chat with fishermen and other experts to shed some light on practical solutions that work today and yet serve us well into the future. Join us as we check out some great fishing and real-world conservation. Welcome to Real World. It's great to get out here and meet with you every now and then, and it's fun to touch bases. We're in Studio A here on Channel 17, and it really is kind of exciting. Just a little bit of a transition here from the last couple of the last couple of years. But anyhow, a new studio, and we're kind of getting back to the old set, so it's kind of starting to feel comfortable again getting in here. Last week we had a really great clip that told a little bit about warden stamps and how you can get warden stamps. Warden stamps, $5 voluntary donation. When you pick up your fishing license, pick up a warden stamp. It goes to a special fund for the California game wardens. Wardens do an incredible amount of work trying to enforce our laws and make sure that we've got resources out there. This is a chance for all of us to kind of stand behind them and really give them a push in the right direction. 100% of that $5 donation goes directly into training and equipment for the wardens, so you can be very comfortable with you give a few bucks there and it does an awful lot of good. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Sanctuary Classic and also about our best practices workshops, but to do that I've got a very, very special guest on the show. We've got Dan Basta. Dan is the director of the Office of National Marine Sanctuaries all around the United States, which Channel Islands locally is one of them. And we'll talk to Dan a little bit. I'm going to bring up a little bit about the Sanctuary Classic a little bit later on and about our best practices workshops. The sanctuaries have been a very big part of that. And with that, Dan, welcome to Real World.
I'm delighted to be here. Delighted to be here.
Dan, it's really a pleasure to be here, have you here. You've been in charge of all of the National Marine Sanctuaries for a while.
12, 13 years, something like that.
How'd you ever get started in that?
Accidentally. Not something I ever planned to do. I was running a whole kind of different technical operation in NOAA and had done some background work helping some sanctuaries figure out some of their science needs. And one day a person named Nancy Foster, who was one of the icons of creating sanctuaries and had moved on and was the head of the National Ocean Service, came to me and asked me if I would want to do this job. I said, well, I didn't know, because I was a big critic of sanctuaries, actually. And one thing led to the other, and I tried it out for a while, and I discovered it was a very important program that, if in fact directed, could be an important program for the United States. Not just for conservation, but for lots of things. So I decided to do the job.
You know, I don't think an awful lot of people really understand sanctuaries. I mean, I kind of go back and I look back and, you know, if you were to talk about conservation in the United States and really, you know, looking at wilderness in the United States, I mean, Teddy Roosevelt immediately jumps to mind. And yet, we really hadn't done much of that in the ocean pretty much until the sanctuaries came along.
That's correct. But 40 years ago, this year, Sanctuary Act was created. First sanctuary in 1975. I don't think America knew what it wanted to do when it created this act. Mm-hmm. However, those who framed the act, that is the National Marine Sanctuary Act, actually created a fabulous piece of legislation. I don't know if they knew what they were doing or not, but they made it clear that it was about not only conservation or protection, but it was about the public, it was about cultural resources, it was a different mandate. And that has become sort of a model for what we do and how we do it. And it's allowed us to be different. It's allowed us to reach into communities in a way that no other federal programs do, and no national parks do, or any of the Teddy Roosevelt created entities. Because in those days it was different.
Yep.
Now it's about communities, it's about economies, it's about a whole different thing.
Well, the ocean really it's this tremendous wilderness, or has been a wilderness area out there. And all of a sudden we've got, now some very, very special places that have guidelines. And sometimes people misconnect the guidelines with the protection doesn't mean no use.
Oh, of course not. I mean, I'm a hunter, I'm a fisherman. I learned about the ocean because I wanted to go fishing. I had no idea about currents, about habitats, about anything. I just wanted to go fishing. So, a lifetime on the water fishing taught me a lot about the ocean, taught me a lot about conservation, taught me a lot about habitat that I would have never known because I didn't go to school to be a marine scientist. It just happened by the act of recreation. So these places, they're iconic places. They allow us to reflect on things that ordinary places don't. There are places that you have to enjoy. There are places that you have to protect. And you got to find that balance as we're trying to find balance on this planet about how, in fact, we're going to sustain ourselves. There are places that always have some very high ecologic value. So they're usually great fishing spots, actually. And, our view is that the people who should be those who project these places are those who use it. On-water people, kayakers, fishermen, people who use the water are the ones who know about it.
Dan, we've been really lucky in running the Sanctuary Classic. It's a fishing and photo contest in all of the National Marine Sanctuaries. And it's afforded me the opportunity to go around and visit a number of the sanctuaries around the country. And we were talking before, I have been totally impressed with the folks that you have there. I mean, there's a genuine devotion to what they're doing. I mean, everybody, you always have the caricature of the bureaucrat. The folks that you've got working with you, man, they are incredible. They're just incredible.
Well, as I said before the cameras came on, I'm just so glad to hear you say that because they have to be the most dedicated individuals of public service you will meet. And this country is very lucky to have these people doing their job every day for them. You can't pay people enough to do this, as you found out.
I was
extraordinarily competent and engaged people.
I was telling you the story, we've done some work with Gray's Reef National Marine Sanctuary just out of Savannah, Georgia. Mm-hmm. Actually, Gray's Reef is off the coast, about the center of Georgia, but the offices there are just
in Savannah.
In Savannah. And part of what we're doing, I think, was a best practices workshop that we're doing in conjunction with the sanctuary there, which actually Dr. George Sedbury had really instigated about us doing best practices and how recreational fishermen can do a good job out there and how it benefits everybody. And the thing that amazed me is their Sapelo Island Fishing Club meets on Saturday nights near Sapelo Island, which has got to be 50 miles from Savannah. And I said, yeah, hey, look, I'll cover it, don't worry. He goes, well, I'll meet you there. And here's the guy on Saturday night. I mean, how do you explain that to your wife? I'm going to a fishing club because this is what I do. And I was just thoroughly impressed by their dedication. Here's a guy helping us fishermen get out and do a better job in a National Marine Sanctuary. I mean, you don't read about this anywhere.
Oh, it's not newsworthy to a lot of people, but I want your viewers to know, Tom, that you and your associates get the lion's share of the credit for this. We've talked about this for a long time, a few years, but it was your instigation, understanding how this works and bringing aspects of the community to the table that allowed this to live. People like George and others allowed our personnel, and some of them, they're on all sides of this equation, and an avid sort of environmentalist may not see how that all works. It's not in their experience. people like George have got them to see that. I think it's a phenomenal program that you've been the instigator of, and it's inspired in how it is beginning to take hold.
And the wonderful part, as you say, it takes all times. It really does.
Yeah.
And with Sanctuaries, you've got a full range of folks that work there. And we're doing some work right now with the folks at Humpback Whale Sanctuary out in Hawaii. And Hawaiians, and particularly Native Hawaiians, look at fishing a lot differently than a lot of other people do. And it's really good to see this great balance across the width and breadth of this incredible nation of ours. When you see the folks out there, it's like the fish this is a cultural part to them, but they're very big on there's they simply follow regulations, but the thing is, catch and release is not a big part there, where catch and release in a lot of areas is. So it's really great to see this whole mix of folks that you've got.
Well, one of the things that I think makes us successful a little bit is, I was saying this today here in Santa Barbara, in that many federal programs come and go. I'm here to help you, and then I'm gone. Sanctuary programs come, stay, and become parts of communities. That's the big difference. So those people that you meet in these places are part of those communities. They're going to be there. Everybody knows that. And it becomes a different dynamic. And it seems to take, and this is my observation, there isn't any sort of big study that has shown this, but in my experience of many, many years, for some reason, when you start to when you reach this place where you all are on that same page as a community, it takes about 10 years. Doesn't matter where it is. It seems to always take about 10 years, as if there's like a decade number in our brains that it takes us that long to build trust, because it's about trust.
That's a good place to go. The sanctuaries, recreational fishing is open in most of the places in most of the sanctuaries.
About 99.9%, something like that.
About 99.9% of the sanctuaries.
Or at least 99%.
Yeah, okay, and we've got, there's certainly regulations and we follow those, but the thing is, overall, fishing is allowed in somewhere around 90, give or take, 99% of the sanctuaries.
That's correct.
Dan, hang on a second. We're going to go to a clip. I want to learn a little bit about the Sanctuary Classic. Greg, take her away.
Sanctuary Classic combines the two things that I care a lot about. And I think because you're here, it means that you care a lot about them too. One is fishing, getting out on the water with friends and family, and the other is conservation.
Hi, my name is Michael Denmark, and I love fishing, and I love to fish Gray's Reef. I'd like to invite you and your family to come out and fish the Sanctuary Classic.
I'd especially like you to participate in the Gray's Reef and Sanctuaries Classic Fishing Tournament and Photo Contest, which is taking place now.
Hello, I'm Captain Judy with Miss Judy Charters, and I fish out of Savannah, Georgia, and normally fish a lot at Gray's Reef Marine Sanctuary, which, by the way, is a great place to fish.
Hi, I'm Captain Mike Neal. I own Bull River Cruises, but one of the things that we do is we enjoy going offshore and fishing, and one of the greatest places to fish in coastal Georgia, Gray's Reef National Marine Sanctuary.
Hi, I'm Paul Michelle, Superintendent of the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, and we're here to celebrate and showcase recreational fishing in a National Marine Sanctuary with the Sanctuary Classic. So come on out and fish and enjoy fishing in a National Marine Sanctuary.
You need to come on down and fish the wonderful Monterey Bay Sanctuary.
Hi, I'm Tom Raftican from the Sport Fishing Conservancy, and welcome to the Sanctuary Classic. The Sanctuary Classic is a fishing and photo contest that runs all summer long in all of the National Marine Sanctuaries, but we're featuring Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. It's free to enter the Classic, and we give away weekly prizes along with scholarships to kids at the end of the summer. Join us on the Sanctuary Classic at sanctuaryclassic.org.
Our sincere thanks goes out to all the great sponsors who have made the Sanctuary Classic a reality. Remember, it's so easy to sign up. Just go to www.sanctuaryclassic.org today and sign up for free. and then open the door to the great outdoors for your family, your friends, and your children. Get out and enjoy one of the great sanctuaries really soon. You won't regret it. And a very special thanks to Guy Harvey for the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation Scholarship, as well as Dan Basta.
Fishing is so much fun.
Welcome back, and a great bit of information about the Sanctuary Classic, and that's a fishing and photo contest that will run from World Oceans Day, Saturday, June 8th through Labor Day this summer in all of the National Marine Sanctuaries, in particular out here at the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary. Great opportunity to get out on the water. We give away gift certificates, 10 $100 gift certificates each week during the Classic, just for sending in a picture. And if more than one picture comes in, we need a vote on that picture online. But a really easy way to win some West Marine gift certificates. And very, very importantly, we've got something that comes up at the end of the Classic. We take a look at all those pictures, and we've got a great panel of judges, and those judges pick out 4 in which we give away $1,000 Guy Harvey scholarships. Guy's one of the judges and really behind this. Somebody else that's really behind this is my special guest this evening, Dan Basta. Dan's the director of the Office of National Marine Sanctuaries. And Dan, great to have you here, and kind of fun about doing the Classic.
Great to be here, and what a terrific thing, actually. I mean, it was really great fun giving out those scholarships, and it's a meaningful thing. And it's inspired the way it works with a photographic contest and best practices. It's about teaching people best practices of how to do things sustainable. It's a great program.
We're really having fun with that, and you know, you're a sister organization with the National Marine Fisheries Service. You're both under the NOAA umbrella.
Maybe could we be called brothers? Maybe.
All right, you could be a brother organization.
Right.
I like that, brother organization. Okay.
Or brothers and sisters. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going there. But you know what? I think they came out with statistics, and they just. I mean, this past week, I think they came out with the 2012 statistics, but last fall they released 2011 statistics, and it really struck me that there are 10 plus million recreational marine fishermen across the United States. We catch 345 million fish in 2011. Nearly 60% of those fish were released. Regulatory discards, catch and release, season limits, over limits, you know, there are a lot of reasons, but we release 50% more fish than we take. How we treat those fish is going to be incredibly important.
Oh, totally.
To the resources, first of all, and also to what we can do as far as opportunity for recreational fishing.
You know, it's, for me, that's a fabulous stat, but what's really important for me is the 10 million individuals. They are a voice. They're a voice that cares about the marine world. They care about a healthy ocean because they get benefit from it. They need to speak out in bigger ways. That's what they need to do. They're an army that needs to be activated to do that. We need their help.
Dan, I understand that, and I think one of the big steps on getting that voice out there is so these 10 million folks understand. I mean, that's why I'm asking you, what percentage of the sanctuaries are open to fishing? And when you start saying, well, 98, 99, maybe 99.5% of the sanctuaries are open to fishing, all of a sudden it's like, hey, wait a second. This is something, you know, you've got incredibly beautiful, I mean, getting out in the wild, in the wild ocean is incredible. That's an important part of recreational fishing. And understanding that we can do it in these wonderful places, that's the message we get out. You protect what you love.
That's right. And if you don't understand it or experience it, you don't know you love it, actually. You know, we all want the exact same thing. We want an ecosystem that is extraordinarily abundant, that you can recreation and fish to your heart's content. We want it to be delivering all those great things that it always has delivered to us. And it's in all of our interest to do that. As there may be 20 million recreational fishermen in 20 years or 30 years. But we have to own this. We have to own sustaining it together, because we are trying to do the same thing, and the key for us to do that is the word trust.
Let's continue to build
that.
Let's continue to build trust. But I again get back to something like Teddy Roosevelt, and what Teddy Roosevelt did 110 years ago was not just national parks, but was national wildlife refuges.
Right.
I mean, it was a cross section where, I mean, today, because of that vision,
Sure.
the average American citizen has got more opportunity for wilderness, for hunting opportunities, for fishing opportunities, and to enjoy the wilderness. But it took sitting down and saying, hey, let's put this together. And I think for the viewer out there to understand that what the Sanctuaries are doing is a very, very similar type program, that it's like, hey, look, we want folks in here enjoying the resources. I've told you before, and I just want to make it clear to our viewers out there, I've had the opportunity to work with a number of your sanctuary superintendents. They all have been overwhelming. And the thing is, I'm there talking about a recreational fishing contest, and they're going, what can we do to help support this? And, I think that's the message. That's how we start building trust.
Well, trust has got to be earned.
Yep.
And, one of the disadvantages that we often have, we're a little bit different as it goes in the sort of government way of things, is we have to get over with people that we're actually here from the government. That is something you actually have to get over in our country, because there's a lack of trust. You automatically presume there's something not right with this picture. But we do get over it, and we have built partnerships and relationships like ours that we never imagined. But it takes dedication, people like these superintendents, perseverance, and a willingness to do the hard work.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about it, while we're talking about hard work, I want to put in a plug for the thing that we're doing, and going to be running a number of other ones this year, and that's our best practices workshops for recreational fishermen. This was a concept on the drawing board. And it's like, hey, how do we do a better, we as recreational fishermen, if we're releasing 50% more fish than we're keeping, how do we do a good job in releasing them? And some of the, in particular, the folks that have been fishing for a while got a pretty good idea on that. Let's get them out there and get them intertwined with the scientists so that we understand precisely what's happening. And then all of a sudden we can start managing along those lines. So if we start doing a good job, you spread that good job out, you document that good job, then we start better understanding the fisheries. Dr. George Sedbury, and we're getting back to George again in Gray's Reef, he said, come on, this is a great idea. This is a great idea for the sanctuaries, it's a great idea for fishermen. And he jumped in behind us and was really, really helpful in getting this done. We're doing a number of them this year. I've got one coming up in St. Petersburg, Florida in a few weeks. We're also trying to do a couple here in California, and probably one in Hawaii, and maybe on the outside one in New England. But you know what? It's taken a partnership to do this. And I just want to give a lot of credit to the folks at the sanctuaries, but they're going, hey, look, yeah, this makes sense for us, also makes sense for fishermen. Let's get together and pull it off. Well,
Definitely appreciate that. But as we were talking earlier, you are the catalytic element in this. You are, and your viewers need to know that about this. And it's the people who are also putting their money where their mouth is. It's Guy Harvey, it's West Marine, it's people who have decided to take a gamble on trust, and it is paying off. And you need people like that. You need voice leaders that people will listen to. It's a complex world we live in, and there's so much a cacophony of information, most of it wrong, and you got to find a way to penetrate that. Using the internet the way you've created this program is a fabulous way to do that. I don't even think it's hit nearly its potential yet. I think there are other things that we will wind up doing that will be beyond what we're even considering now. You just have to think about it and work on some of these.
Most of these things evolve kind of down the road, and we've got some interesting stuff going on right now. And like I said, we're really happy. We've got the Classic off and running for this year. It's a really unique thing to get out, and normally I've got one great friend down in Florida, George Geiger. George was one of the guys that started out and helped put together Coastal Conservation Association in Florida, and this is going back 20 some odd years ago. And I said, George, I'm doing this thing called the Sanctuary Classic. He goes, what is it? I said, well, it's kind of this fishing contest. He goes, I don't do fishing tournaments. I don't do, I said, George, hang on, let's just talk for a second.
I think I know him, actually.
He's an interesting, a great guy. I mean, you'll love him or you'll hate him. He's a great guy. Major in the Army, and he is straight down the line.
I do think I know him.
George is a good friend, but incredible. Anyhow, he's going, I don't do fishing tournaments. I just don't. I said, hold on, here's what we're doing. I said, we're not giving away prizes for the biggest fish, the most fish, the heaviest fish, the largest fish, the smallest fish. What we're doing is you follow all the regulations, you follow the code of ethical angling, and you employ best fishing practices. And if you do that, all we want to do is a picture of you and the fish. He goes, well, how does that work? And it's like, well, we just send the pictures in, we put them up on the web.
It's magic.
Magic, yeah. and if we got a couple up there, you vote for the one that you like the best. He goes, all right, I can get behind that. And you know, it was somebody going, no, never, and all of a sudden turn around because of the unique way that we've put this thing together.
I think the other thing you ought to make your view is aware of a focus on children and youth and family. So there's a family value part of this. There's a youth education part of this that kind of drives this, which is a big, big deal.
And this is the reason that we've got Guy Harvey on board and West Point and others. We give away scholarships. And those scholarships are for the pictures. Out of all the pictures submitted, they don't have to be a weekly winner or anything, but out of all the pictures submitted, the ones that best exemplify family fishing values, conservation, you know, getting kids out on the water, having a good time. And I think when you look at it, the winning pictures from last year, none of them really were you know, big fish. I mean,
no, it was the scene. It was the combination between, in those cases, the youth and how they interacted in that scene with the fish. There were some really fabulously funny ones.
They're great pictures. Dan,
you know what I think we need? I think we need some YouTube videos.
We're going to have that coming up, and we'll be doing some more videos. We're coming down on wrap up towards the end of the show. Is there any other information that you need to get out to your viewers quickly?
Well, there's a lot of things I'd like to get out, and some things I can't say on the air, as you know. But my point of this is that it's about communities, it's about citizens taking the ownership of protecting and ensuring these places deliver for them. They need to be activists. You cannot sit back and let it just go. Dan Basta, director, thank you very much for being here. Love that was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
See you on the water, Tom.
You got it. You're not having
under the water.